So hello and welcome to all my dear aspirants to Sail to MDS Dental Academy. So aspirants, now we are with the part 2 of the HPSC Past Paper discussion. Already part 1 we have discussed. If anybody have not watched, you can watch. The I button is above and also the link is given in description box. Remember, we are not just going to discuss question and answer but also important concept. So let's discuss. So the poor man's symptomatic analysis is performed via what? So it's performed via facial profile analysis. So remember, whenever we see any orthodontic patient, the lateral view is very important, and that lateral facial profile view is known as poor man symptomatic analysis. So what we see whether the jaws are placed proportionately in the AP plane of space or not. So two lines are drawn, one from the bridge of the nose to the base of the upper lip, and second extending from that patient downward to the chin. So this line segment should form a straight line. So in case of angle class 2 it is convex profile, and in case of class 3 it is concave profile. Then which of the following would provide the most reliable information regarding pubertal growth spurt? That is hand-reached radiograph. Remember aspirant, whenever you see hand-reached radiograph, the carpal bone mnemonic is very important. They may ask you. So simple mnemonic is there. So long to pinky, here comes the thumb. This is scaphoid, lunate, triquetrum, pisiform, hamate, capitate, trapezoid and trapezium. Then during a serial extraction case, which teeth are not typically removed? So first let us see a few sequence of extraction. So Bunon method is there. He told the extraction of primary canine, first primary molar and first premolar. Then devils we have CD4, and twin and nans we have D4C. Okay aspirant, so most often the primary second molars are not typically removed in serial extraction case, and serial extraction case is done in case where there is more than 10 mm of discrepancy. Then once bone is formed, how it is grow? It grow both by oppositional and interstitial growth. Let's see what is oppositional and interstitial growth. So in interstitial growth we have the growth that help in increase bone length, where in oppositional we have increasing bone width. In interstitial growth, the growth is within the bone, wherever oppositional there is outside the bone. Here the location is within the lacunae, and here it is on the surface of existing cartilage. So this help in increasing length, and oppositional help in increasing width. So which is a secreting matrix in interstitial growth? It's a chondrocyte within divide and secrete matrix, wherever in oppositional the chondroblast secrete matrix. So what happened because of this interstitial growth? It lengthened the cartilage and is replaced by bone tissue, wherever in oppositional new bone tissue is deposited on the surface of pre-existing bone. So interstitial growth help in longer bone, wherever oppositional growth help in thicker bones. Then aspirant, in which region the bone deposition help in lengthening of maxillary arch? That is your maxillary tuberosity region. So it is one of the major site of growth. Bone is deposited in 3 directions on the posterior surface of maxillary tuberosity. Sometimes they ask on which surface it is deposited. So it is posterior surface. So it lengthens posteriorly along the arch by bone deposition on its posterior facing surface. It grows laterally and widens that part by deposition on the buccal surface. It grows downward by deposition of bone over the alveolar ridge. And bone resorption occur on the endostellar surface and contribute to the enlargement of maxillary sinus also. Then which of the following is the least important diagnostic aid in early stage of gingivitis? As when the word early is written. So the least important here is pocket depth, because if pocket depth is there, if more than 4 mm, 5 mm it is periodontitis. But generally in gingivitis we never see pocket depth. So let's see 4 stages of gingivitis. Stage 1, initial lesion for 2 to 4 days. Here the immune cells are polymorphonuclear lymphocytes, and finding is increase in gingival flow, that is GCF. Stage 2, there is early lesion for 4 to 7 days. Here the immune cells are lymphocytes, and clinical findings are erythema and bleeding on probing. And stage 3, SW region seen after 14 to 21 days. Here the immune cells are plasma cells, and you can see changing color, size and texture. Whereas stage 4, it is advanced lesion, means your gingivitis is progressing to periodontitis. Let's see another question. So which of the following needs to be evident in order to make a diagnosis of periodontitis? The best thing is pocket depth of 5 mm or more. Let's see the latest criteria, the periodontitis staging criteria given in the 2017. So periodontitis, what all you have to see? You have to see interdental CAL, that is clinical attachment loss, RBL, that is radiographic bone loss. Then we have to see tooth loss, and we have to also see whether it is a local and what is the extent and distribution. In stage 1, the attachment loss is 1 to 2 mm, radiographic bone loss, coronal third, tooth loss is not there. Probing depth is around 4 mm, we can see horizontal bone loss. In stage 2, it increased to 3 to 4 mm, stage 3 more than 5 mm, and in stage 4 also more than 5 mm. Here the bone loss in stage 2 is also yet to coronal third, then it extends to middle third of root and beyond, and then in stage 4 also you can see it is increasing. In stage 1 and stage 2 aspirant, there is a no tooth loss, whereas in stage 3 or 4 the tooth loss is there, around 4 to 5 teeth loss can be seen. Also probing depth will increase as the stage will increase. As the stage 2 we can see 5 mm, in stage 3 6 mm, and in stage 4 it is maximum. And in stage 4 we can see another thing, like we can see the secondary occlusal trauma, masticatory problem, ridge defect, sometimes bite collapse, and drifting is also seen. Then whenever we say about the distribution of the periodontitis, we have to say localized if it is less than 30% of teeth involved, very important MCQ. Generalized, and also sometimes we can say it is molar involvement or incisor involvement. Then one more question. So which of the following occlusal condition would exert lowest amount of biting force under circumstances? That is a complete denture resting on soft tissue. Let us relieve this confusion. So whenever natural dentition is there, the maximum force is generated is around 60 to 80 kg. Let us consider this factor 1. In complete denture prosthesis, it is 7 to 10 kg, which is 5 to 6 times less. Removable partial denture 10 to 12 kg, which is 4 to 5 times less. FPD 25-30 kg, it is 2 to 3 times less. And in implant supported complete denture, it is 4 to 40 kg, that is 1.5 to 2 times less. So please aspirant, remember this masticatory forces generated chart. Okay. Let's see another question. So where we can see the highest rate of implant failure in type 4 bone. Let us see the classification given by Mish. D1, it is seen in anterior mandible. D2, in anterior mandible, posterior mandible and anterior maxilla. D3, in anterior maxilla, posterior maxilla and posterior mandible. And D4, in posterior maxilla. So which of the following condition is not a contraindication to dental placement? The question is not a contraindication. That is advanced patient age, or the like diminished healing capacity, like in diabetes, or any chemotherapy is going on, or any radiotherapy is going on, the implant is contraindicated. Other contraindications are presence of non-treated or unsuccessfully treated periodontal disease, poor oral hygiene, diabetes, chronic steroid therapy, high dose irritation, and even smoking and alcohol abuse is a contraindication for your dental implant placement. Then gingival fiber consists of type 1 collagen. What is the difference between cellular and acellular cementum? Remember, in cellular cementum they contain cementocytes. Then which two bacteria are the most common bacteria in endodontic infection? That's a P. gingivalis, that's a Porphyromonas species, and Bacteroides melanogenica. Which of the following are not found in the pulp? It is your proprioceptive nerve fibers. The reticulum fibers, collagen fibers, and myelinated nerve fibers are present in the pulp. So aspirant, that was all for part 2. See you soon with the part 3. If anybody want to join the government dental exam test series for the HPSC or for the NEET MDS, they can contact me. Till then aspirant, take care and keep on working.